Hey guys, here we are for today's shave. We've got Hallows from Barrister and Mann. We're going to be using the Nacet. We're going to be using the Karve Christopher Bradley with the B open comb and the Stirling Boar brush. Stirling. He's been soaking for an hour or so, and that's going to be overkill if you've got it broken in. But this guy, he's got a ways to go, and so I don't mind having him in there for that long. Fishing, really just a few minutes is all you need, but I like to for a little bit longer for those stubborn brushes that are taking a while to become comfortable. All right, so the Nacet has had 361 shaves before now. They had a wonderful shave yesterday with the B open comb, and we have the same setup today. And here's the blade. Great thing about the Karve is it's got an exact fit. Don't have to worry about it confirming the adjustment or anything. Now, I had the Ferox in the Soft Heart series, and I traded it for the Hallows, and got a funky, kind of cool, modern, cartoonish cover. And this has been used, scraped and whatnot, but the Ferox had been used as well. And so I traded it because I didn't really enjoy the Ferox scent, and I know that I like Hallows. Now, this base here, that is, it used to be called PP8 when it originally was put out to the public, or a few testers, because Will at Barrister and Mann was looking at a new base. He had the glissant base out, and then he had reserve, and he was trying to make it, people were finding it difficult to use reserve in some cases, and he was searching for what to have next. And PP8, Purple Possum, I believe 8 was the code name given to that base, and it made its way around a few testers, and they really came to like it. Now, he chose not to go with it because the soap gets used up a little bit more quickly. It's easier to load than the Excelsior, perhaps, but since it gets used up a little more quickly, he decided not to make that his main base for all of his stuff to start using, and he chose the Excelsior base instead. But then he had such a good reaction from all the people who tested and really enjoyed the PP8 base that he brought PP8 to everybody in terms of the Soft Heart series in smaller quantities. All right, so let me get my face wet, and then we will load up. I don't have good data, I don't think, for how long to load PP8. So let's do 20 seconds, because this is kind of a stiff brush, and it is a soft, it's supposed to be fairly easy to load. So why don't we try 20 seconds. So 47 is where I started. So we'll go to 07. Quite a bit of water was still in the brush, and so it is still hanging around in the soap tub. I can't quite bring myself to waste that and pour it down the drain, so what I'll do is I'll just kind of scoop and dump all that into my shaving lather bowl. Now, I have the previous 2 iterations of Hallows, and this does smell different than what I recall of those. So maybe the base being different, masks different parts of the notes or something like that. I'm a big fan of the Hallows scent. Let's get you down and we'll work the lather. is definitely one of those brushes in my boar rotation that is taking a while to get comfortable. Still got a good bit of backbone and the tips aren't all that soft yet. Haven't used it in a while, so I'm looking forward to seeing, refreshing my memory of how it feels. Alright, as you can see, we are definitely working that early lather up. We go ahead with a whole 2 teaspoons right away, since it does look like it's a good bit of paste here. Many people consider this to be one of their favorite bases. I've seen many comments online about it. So 3 teaspoons total now. Probably need to run this base a little drier than usual, than my usual standard. It probably has some, because of its soft nature and how it gets used up quickly. But I can't help putting another teaspoon in, 4 teaspoons of water. Looks really thick, so that's why I felt comfortable risking the 4th teaspoon without really checking it too much. Looking forward to when this boar really gets soft tips and they split a lot, because I really like the amount of fibers and bristles that are in the knot. It has a glue bump and it splays quite naturally to the V shape, and so I just think it's going to work out really well when it finally does break in. That elasticity, and that just looks very thick, but it's being quite elastic. So why don't we just go with it? I mean, 4 teaspoons is quite a bit. Of course, it could be that this brush really gathered up a lot of soap in the loading process. So let's just see what happens. Take it to the face at this concentration. Okay. Well, I definitely like this scent a lot better than the Ferox. Now it seems to be staying pretty loose and creamy, as if maybe I made the right choice about stopping the water. So we'll see what happens. We'll give it another. As we work it into the skin, you don't want to just spread a good layer and then go right away. Definitely feel the massage action of the tips. All right, now let's start adding some water. added another 3/4 of a teaspoon of water so far. All right. I think this will be plenty for the first pass. I did go ahead and add a little bit to the bowl. And then I can also take the excess here from around the goatee. We definitely have plenty of lather on my face to do the job. All right. Nice cool water. And we'll just start with the grain pass. No pre-shave actions today, just that water you saw me put on. I didn't take a shower beforehand today. And I'm getting a little bit of tugging, but really not very much at all. I think very few people would have a problem with this amount of tugging. The creaminess of this lather probably playing a large part in the comfort here. Great scent. It is different than what I remember the other Hallows smelling like, but still very nice. So now, could I have maybe mixed it way too rich? Well, one way you can check is during this rinse right here that I'm about to do. As I put it on my face, I can feel it. As I add more water to my face, does it all of a sudden just energize the lather and I feel like I could just shave with only what I've got on my face, you know, because it feels so slick? Or does it rinse kind of quickly away? You know, there's some things to look for, and that can be a diagnostic element as you think about your lather concentration. Even if it really feels like you've still got a good bit on your face because you put some water on there and it just livens everything up and you wake up the lather, if you will. Maybe that's where you like it. I'm not saying it's wrong to have that, but that's just something you can think about and as you figure out your favorite hydration place. And so no, it did not, as I'm adjusting my camera a little bit, it did not have too much lather there, kind of remnant on my face. It's just the nature of this type of base to have that good silky feeling. It just got a creamy nature to it because of the ingredients. We can just lay down a layer because it just immediately it felt very good to my hands, but then it didn't suds up or anything like that, and it didn't take me too long to feel like, oh, we are rinsed adequately. All right, so now we'll do a cross grain. Nice slick feeling. Very comfy. I was watching Ken Surf's. He was reviewing a razor that I had a question about, and I was curious about. I've definitely seen a good many of his videos. This time I saw him and I saw his lathering technique and how he loaded that Perazzo for such a long time. And long load time, really mashing the brush in there. And then he didn't really take a lot of time to add water. And so I think his lather is just very dry compared to mine. It's just funny how people have different preferences. I don't have to load very long. I think I figured out with chiseled face, like 7 seconds is all I need to load the original chiseled face soap base for me to get 4 passes of good lather. And we're all different. He was reviewing that Fat Guy razor, the stainless replica clone razor that was inspired by the venerable Fat Boy from Gillette. And it's definitely not, I would not call it a replica like they do on their site. Global Shave Club, I think is what it is. Because you can just very easily, if you've seen a Fat Boy enough, you're not going to see that and think it's a Fat Boy. And so I would not call it a replica. But it was definitely, I think they were saying it's a piece for piece kind of recreation, re-envisioning of it. And I was glad to have his input on it. And it's, I want to sell it to you for $100. That's too much for me. I don't actually like the chrome look, and the chrome surface, the plating just doesn't look nearly as good as the nickel plating on the vintage ones. And so I'd rather spend my money and find a good vintage Fat Boy myself, but everybody's different. And they added some magnesium, I think, to the stainless steel. To give it some strength, to improve its strength. Whereas the vintage one is the plating on top of brass. All right, well, face feels very good. It does leave your face not a lot of the slickness. Is kind of a slow, thick, oily kind of slickness right now in terms of the remnant of slickness that's left on my face. So it's definitely different than a lot of other lathers where the remnants I'm just kind of able to really move my fingers around quickly, and this is a little slower. I didn't feel a slowness on behalf of the razor, maybe just a little bit, but not enough to bother me at all. So I like it better than maybe the milk steak or something like that. I brought a balm down to use after the shave, but this is just leaving me quite moisturized, and I kind of feel like it would be redundant. And I've got oily skin anyway, so I'm going to wait and not put on a post-shave right now. And when I get to my room where I have my gear, I'll bring out an alcohol splash that I like. All right. The scent was not super strong during the shave, but it was nice. It was pleasant. It was there. 5 out of 10. Just kind of a medium strength. It was enjoyable. I can tell that it's slightly different than the other bases a little bit, but it's still fine. It's still great. I think I probably could have gotten away with just 10 seconds of loading because I still have a lot of lather left over. And while the rinse after the first pass did not kind of re-energize the lather and require more rinsing, the rinse after the second pass did. What does that mean? Probably means that first pass, a lot of that soap was busy killing the oils that were on my face. Since those oils were gone for the second pass, then it was able to stay a lather and not have to combat those oils. And so it was a higher concentration. And so I did end up adding more water We're looking at 3, no, because I used 4, and then I kept on going, so 5.5 teaspoons of water for 20 seconds of loading. Could definitely reduce that, because I did end up with 7 passes of lather or so. Also waiting before I apply the splash. Give me a nice opportunity to catch the trailing end of this Hallows and just enjoy it for a little while. All right, very good. Now, that's interesting. This Hallows, if you bought it, you could get the BaM, because, you know, it was during COVID and it was hard to get a hold of alcohol. So he started creating BaMs, and this is the one that I don't think needs a BaM. So it's a little bit backwards, but it's the nature of supply and demand during a hard pandemic. So here's this little knot, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stirling was getting its bristles from the same supplier as some of those Omega knots, the 20102 for instance. I like the amount, like I said, of the bristles that are in here. It's got a lot. It's a very predominant glue bump down here, and it helps to have a natural and automatic splay to it there, but the tips have a ways to go. Here's a little guy right there that has split. I don't know if you can see him. So we definitely do have some splitting, but just not a lot. Still a good bit of massagey, wiry kind of feeling. If I worked my face too hard, especially if the soap was thinner, I could see maybe not wanting that effect on my face. I don't even think it would give me any brush burn, but maybe. And so it just wasn't as comfortable, but that's okay. This is a young brush. It's still like 23, 24 uses old, and so it's got a ways to go still. So definitely not dissing it at this point. It's just slower to develop than most of the Zeniths and the Simogues that I have. So the result of the shave, comfortable, nice close shave, even on my tricky spot. A few tips here and there that needed a little bit of work, but fine, just fine. I'm on the holidays. Really happy with the comfort and result of the shave today. No irritation, razor burn, anything like that, nothing at all. And that's it, guys. There we go. Tomorrow, going to be celebrating with the family, the Thanksgiving holiday, a little bit after the fact, because more relatives can attend, so looking forward to that. I hope this holiday affords you time with the people that you love, even if it's maybe just extra virtual time on a chat or something like that if you can't be together in person. But the folks that you love, I hope you're able to envelop them as a part of your holiday and appreciate and enjoy them. All right, guys, take care. All the best for you and yours. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves.